Let's take a look at how to create the RCM cost locations hierarchy via import. RCM cost allows you to import the locations hierarchy, and this is particularly useful if you can export an asset list or a list of all the equipment in your system from for example, a CMMS system. Here I have an example list of systems and components in an Excel spreadsheet. In order to perform the import, there's several columns that we will need. The first is the ID column. IDs must be unique, so if you have several assets that have the same part number, then you'll want to include some extra piece of information to differentiate them so that each entry has a unique identifier. If the IDs are not all unique, then you will receive an error message during import. The next piece of information you will want is the parent field. The parent column contains the unique ID of the parent location in the locations hierarchy. So, for example, here the screw feeder, SFeed, is a child of the extrusion unit, and that relationship in the hierarchy is indicated because the screw feeder contains the extrusion unit's unique ID in the parent column. If an item does not have a parent ID or it has an invalid parent ID, then it will appear at the highest level in the locations hierarchy. The next field I have is the description field, which just contains the text description of each component. There's several other fields that can be imported: quantity if you have more than one, the various different notes fields, and numerous others. Those other fields are not required for import. The only ones that are strictly speaking required are ID and parent. To import into RCM cost, I can save this Excel worksheet. Keep in mind that Availability Workbench needs exclusive access to the file, so you must either close the Excel file or you must share the workbook so that multiple programs can open it all at once. Or in my case, I will simply copy this data onto the clipboard. Now let's jump into RCM cost and look at how to import this data. To import the data, I will go to the File, Import menu option. In the Import wizard, I will select my file type as clipboard, since I'm importing from the clipboard. If you were importing an Excel spreadsheet, I would choose the Excel file type. Since my columns in the Excel worksheet identified each column in the first row, I will click the Column Names in First Row checkbox. I can see the contents of my import file by going to the Schema tab, and it shows me the 3 columns and their column identifiers that are going to be imported. Next, on the Table Matches tab, I choose my external table, that is my clipboard data, and then match it to an application table from Availability Workbench. In this case, I want to import to the RCM locations table. So I will select first the clipboard, then the RCM locations. If I'm importing from Excel or Access or another program that potentially has multiple tables, I may need to make several table matches. Once I've made my table matches, I go to the Column Matches tab, and I will choose the matchings from my external columns to my application columns. Those matchings are made in the same way by first selecting the external column and then clicking on the application column that you want the data to be brought into. Please note that you must match something to the ID field in the application columns list. If nothing is matched to the ID, you will receive an error message. Since I named the columns in my Excel workbook the same as the column names in Availability Workbench, I can simply use the Auto Match button to automatically create those matchings. If I'm importing additional tables all in one go, I will also want to go to the Table Matches dropdown, find each table matching I have made, and make column matchings for each table matching. Once I have matched all tables and all columns from each table, I can click the Import button. Import's complete. I'll dismiss the dialogues. If this is an import that I will be doing frequently, I may save it as a template so I don't have to walk through these settings every single time. Now when I expand the Locations node in the hierarchy, I will see that my locations have been imported.